Major movie releases have been postponed. Productions have been shut down. Movie theaters temporarily closed. Major studios are now sending films like Frozen 2 and Invisible Man directly to streaming services. So what's going on in the entertainment world? Joining us to discuss it all is Seth Sackner, is the managing director at Strat Americas, a company that works with media and technology companies. Seth, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Dean. Good morning. Great to be here.
So how do we, can we put a total on how much this has affected the entertainment industry? It has to be staggering.
Yeah, I think it's a staggering. I'd probably hesitate to put something quantitative on it, but it's an incredible disruption right now. Unquestionably, those changes that you're mentioning, I think, are honestly the tip of the iceberg. Unquestionably, everything from production to scheduling and releasing, at least in the film business and even in the TV business, is disrupted right now. You didn't mention music. I come from the music business, and the live side of that business is really quite bad. But the thing that I see about this period is, it's obviously a blip. It's a short-term emergency that there's some adjustments being made to. But I think over time, some of these things like releasing windows when pictures come out and when they go to things like Netflix or home entertainment, I think you'll probably see some sort of reversion to normal when we get through this period, at least in the short term, basically. And over time, you'll see some bigger changes.
Yeah, well, there was a story that I saw yesterday that said that 500 movie theaters in China are beginning to reopen as the virus is, kind of dissipating slowly there. I imagine we'll see the same thing here as things change.
Yeah, I think that the theater, theatrical exhibitors, that side of the film business, is actually one of the most serious things to watch. I don't see as much attention to it as one might think. There's I think something like 40,000 screens in the U.S. and you have to wonder, once we get through this, how many of them will still be open. I think what's happened in China is really early stage. It's completely fair to say when will people come back and will they want to come back, and do the theaters have to do things like perhaps putting rows 6 feet apart or modernizing. But just given that business is a real estate business, even more than it is just film releasing spot. There's leases there, and I think you'll see some very real changes over the next 6 to 12 months, even with the COVID-19 thing passing us, because I think there's some very structural challenges in that business.
Yeah, I think this whole thing also is, may signal a new way that we watch movies. Everybody is going to online platforms right now and discovering it in many cases for the first time and finding out how easy it is to see, movies in their own living rooms.
Yeah, the thing is, I was, there's been a bunch of the studios here in LA where I'm based, Universal and Warner and certainly Disney, are, I think, in the short term, while we're going through this crisis, are just putting a couple of pictures out to perhaps see what they can get. Invisible Man's out there for rental or purchase, that sort of thing. My experience with it, though, it's still pretty. There's still something great about going to a movie theater, once times normalize, and I think some of those things are buried way deep back in the channel interface, and they don't have the marketing that you get. And so I still think blockbusters, there's a big role for them, and they need those marketing campaigns. And I think you're seeing the studios are going to reschedule them for theaters.
It's changing every single day. We'll keep an eye on it, and thankfully you are too. Appreciate you joining us, Seth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean. Great to be here.
Have a great day, Larry. We'll send it back to you.
Time for Ron Town.
Miss Anna's stuck at home, and there's Alex. How are you, Alex?